Benchwarmers Podcast. I am Casey Coggins, always joined by Alvin Hebert.
Good to be back.
And Andrew Lira.
Still waiting
on those that last NBA Christmas Day announcement.
Just waiting for the leaks.
Yeah, I saw that the official announcement was supposed to come out tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, and here we are Tuesday night, and we already have 4 of the 5 games announced through the glory of ESPN, or not ESPN, one ESPN reporter, one former ESPN reporter, and the usage of Twitter. So we have 4 of the 5 games. So we'll discuss those games. If we don't find out the 5th by the time we get to it, we'll talk about the one that we expect to see, or others that we expect to see. We'll also predict the season opening games, since they usually open with 2 games. And it'll probably be the Warriors getting their rings against somebody. And then since the NFL season is less than a month away, we're going to go through the teams' over-unders, say what we think if they're going to go over or under those win totals, and then we'll have a surprise team that's going to do better than expected and worse than expected. And then we'll go into our On Fire and Dire and Prophecies, and that'll be our show this week. So starting off with that NBA season opener, NBA Christmas Day games, the Martin Luther King Day games are also going to be announced tomorrow.
Has that always been a thing?
But those don't have the flair of Christmas and the season opener. But they do have a big Martin Luther King Day celebration in the NBA. So it is it's a big deal and a big day in the NBA. It's very similar to like Jackie Robinson Day for baseball. Is that like every team plays, and on Martin Luther King Day only certain teams play, and typically Memphis has a home game, being that was, I don't believe that was where he was born, but that was where he was assassinated. So
to live that every year.
Yeah, so they do this whole thing at the hotel, but we're just gonna focus on the opening night games and the Christmas Day games. Alvin, what is one of your opening night game expectations? Who do you think is one of the matchups we'll see?
I was trying to steer away from like some of the obvious picks that I feel like most people would say, but I would definitely love to see Jazz and Sixers opening day.
With the Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, who's the real Rookie of the Year.
Donovan Mitchell about to show you who the real Rookie of the Year should be.
It's over. He lost.
It's all right. He about to show out just like how he showed out in the playoffs.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good one. After I wrote mine down, I realized that I thought there would be another good one, but
I think that'll be a good rivalry between the two also.
Yeah,
I felt like they started that with the whole Rookie of the Year debate.
Definitely would be a good matchup, because those squads are so young and kind of on the rise. We'll see what Utah really does this year, whether this last year was kind of an outlier based off of the fact that they were kind of relying on Donovan Mitchell so much, and he had a great year. Is he going to have a sophomore slump, or is he going to continue to rise? We'll see how the Jazz turn out. Andrew, what is one of the opening night games you have?
You want one of them or both of them?
Just one of them.
Just one of them?
Yeah, we'll alternate.
You want the East Coast game or the West Coast game?
It doesn't matter.
Which one do you want?
Do you want
dealer's choice?
Damn, I love dealer's choice. Well, I'm saying, well, I mean, that's a given that they're gonna do that. So I would say Boston and 76ers.
Yeah,
Boston and Philly.
What I would say though is
it's dealer's choice, Casey.
I know. is that they already have that game as one of the Christmas Day games. It's announced.
There's a long time, and they play each other 4 times in a year.
I don't think they've ever done the same opening night matchup and Christmas Day matchup. That's why I had to adjust one of my openers, because I was like, they're not going to have Warriors Lakers on opening night and Christmas Day.
Oh, of course they would. Those are 2 big games.
Yeah, they are, but that's
They want to build a hype on one of the days.
Yeah, you don't want to just.
They're building the hype on both of them.
Because I think with the Christmas Day game, I don't think that if the Lakers and Warriors have already played, I don't think everybody would be like, well, the Warriors beat the Lakers by 33 on opening night. Like, what can we really expect?
But this isn't the same kind of comparison, Lakers and Warriors, to Boston and Philly. There's, I think they're matched better, where there'll be more competition.
Yeah, I mean,
Boston's not going to be sitting out the fourth quarter.
I get your premise on it.
It wouldn't be shocking to see either of those that they do the same matchups, but that was just my retort to you, was that they already have the Sixers Celtics playing on Christmas Day. One of the ones, and this is mostly kind of I'd like to see it happen, but I realized after I wrote it down that that's not going to happen, is I put Hornets at Spurs, just because it's the first game of the year and Tony Parker comes back to San Antonio in his first game with a new team in his career.
Get the tribute video out the way already.
Yeah, I just deal with it then. But then as we were kind of getting prepped, I realized that
Does Tony Parker get a tribute video?
Why wouldn't he?
It was a joke. Casey's face said, "What?"
It's gonna be all the women that he slept with, just saying mean things, reading mean tweets.
Does Kawhi Leonard get one?
Yes, absolutely.
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 Really? I don't know about absolutely.
I don't think he's...
If Isaiah Thomas was going to get a tribute video in Boston...
He shouldn't have.
But he
shouldn't have.
Right?
He didn't either.
He didn't, yeah.
But Kawhi Leonard won Finals MVP on our last NBA championship.
Kawhi Leonard wanted out of San Antonio.
I feel like you got put in time on a team to get...
Isaiah Thomas didn't want to be traded.
No, he didn't.
He wanted to be that franchise player.
Yeah, and that's probably why he was going to have a tribute video. They'd be like, yeah, we felt bad.
They're like, sorry.
he still called Danny Ainge this offseason and said, like, hey, if you can make room on the squad, I'm willing to go back.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't, I mean, I don't think Kawhi will get a tribute video, but I think that he deserves one.
Nope. Negative. Hard pass.
But
hard pass.
So I wanted to say, like, I wrote it down thinking, like, that's just kind of like the Spurs fan in me wanting to see the Spurs on opening night and then having Tony Parker come back. The one that I do expect to see, though, is Lakers at Cleveland opening night. There's your East Coast game. LeBron going back to Cleveland again.
No, man, they should make it Cleveland at Staples so that they would be like, so this is your new home?
It's so nice.
You left us for this?
All those banners, they look so beautiful.
Again, you got to go East Coast, West Coast, so it'll be at Cleveland, I think, and that'll be one of the opening night games.
If they do that, does LeBron get booed the fuck out of the stadium one more time?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't, right?
No.
I know. Those fucking fans.
That's where
those fucking fans.
That's where the tribute video. Well, I mean, we could have Cleveland and
Does he deserve one in Cleveland after leaving them twice?
Should Cleveland put highlights from when he played in Miami too?
Only one.
No, just show the highlights.
Only one when he
just show that the Wade and Bron the picture.
No, I was gonna say when he's sitting on the bench in his last year in Miami in the finals when he had the cramps in the AT&T Center. That's the one
when they had to carry him off the court.
The one Miami picture is the cramp game.
Do they show the decision on the highlights?
No.
Well,
They're gonna read the
Dan Gilbert letter.
Yeah. Part 2.
Isn't Usher a minority owner in Cleveland? He's going to read it. Usher is going to sing the Dan Gilbert letter in a tribute video. That's going to be the background music. So, my other one that I had as far as the opening games go, like I said, that they'll most likely have the Golden State at home getting their rings, doing the whole banner ceremony and all that. And I have them playing Philly at home because I think that would be a really interesting matchup with, a team that will probably be a top 3 team in the East, has 2 of the best young stars in the league, and is just a really interesting matchup for the Warriors because of how long and rangy Philadelphia is, with Ben Simmons being a better passing, better defending Kevin Durant, just without the jump shot.
Where at though?
And so I think that would be a really, really interesting matchup to see on opening night, because the Warriors, no matter what, it's the ring ceremony, it's opening night, they're going to bring in a draw. So I think putting Philly into that spot would be an interesting opener to see. Alvin, what is your second?
My second one, I feel like Drew is going to be on the one that I'm thinking of, so I'm going to go Warriors Blazers. Just so Kevin Durant can show off the ring to CJ McCollum, like, you will never get this. And then just start the whole Twitter beef all over again.
All over again.
It's just reamp it up.
And then CJ McCollum is going to give Kevin Durant Steph Curry's coattails. There you go. Here's the coattails you were writing. Yeah, that was another one that when we were getting ready, when we were prepping this, that was a really interesting one because of that, and just because the Blazers always played the Warriors tough for whatever reason. They don't have a wing that can keep up with Kevin Durant and even Draymond Green, but for whatever reason, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they just
go off.
yeah, they're like, no, we're the best backcourt in the league, and we'll show you why, and they go off on them. Andrew, your other opening night matchup.
What was my first one?
You went
Boston. Yeah. Well, we got Golden State going to Cleveland.
Yeah, I knew that was going
to Cleveland.
Going to Cleveland.
No,
it's gonna be in Oakland. Cleveland's gonna be there.
I was about to say they're about to get the rings.
Man, don't worry about the hell I'm thinking.
In Cleveland.
It's the most disrespect. Well, we won it here. We might as well show it here.
This isn't 80s NBA, and it's not early 2000s NBA where like the NBA had kind of an image issue with fighting and stuff. So I don't think that they would do that. They would be like, they'd try to hide that game on like November 3rd, like some random Tuesday or Wednesday night where it doesn't have to be a national television game. It can just be just a regular game, and let them get their fisticuffs done with nobody watching other than the local media, and then they get posted into national media, and then it's all on Twitter, and it doesn't really matter when they play it, because if it happens, then we'll know about it and we'll laugh and chime in.
Michael B. Jordan slaps Draymond Green again.
So
this kid saying Draymond Green is the bad guy on Creed 2.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Creed 1.
Really? It was a great movie.
Oh.
That's what I've heard. I'm not a movie watcher. Y'all should know this by now. I don't watch many TV shows, and I don't watch many movies.
This guy, but he's all about the Fast and the Furious.
That's exactly what I was thinking. This guy makes his girlfriend watch all the Fast and the Furious movies.
Well, that's because I had seen them all.
Well, you can have her watch these too when you see them.
I didn't have to go to the theaters to watch them. I waited until they came out on television and watched them then. And then since she hadn't seen them, I actually rented them or streamed them. But I don't know how many times I've gotten on Netflix, and I'm like, all right, what do I want to watch? What do I want to watch?
The Office.
And I scroll like 30 minutes, and I go, I don't know, and I turn off my PS4 and I go back to my cable and just put on SportsCenter or whatever is on Comedy Central. Like, it's just, it's hard for me to pick a movie, so it's hard for me to watch movies because of the fact that I don't know if I want to watch action, I don't know if I want to watch drama, I don't know if I want to watch comedy, if I want to watch a certain actor or actress. Like, I don't know. I don't know the last movie I went to see in theaters is. It's one of these three.
Sicario was mine. Sicario 2.
So, ready for this? These are what it has. It's one of these three, and I don't know when they came out. So
It's gonna be like Batman Beyond.
it's Finding Dory, Jurassic World, and Hail Caesar are the last three that I remember seeing in theaters. Oh, and Fantastic Beasts. I saw that one too. So
I think
one of
Fantastic
those
Beasts was
four.
the most recent one.
So that was the last one that I saw, and they're about to release the second one in November.
Mm-hmm.
So been a
That'll
while.
be the
since
next
I've-
one you see.
It's actually going to be. So, not a moviegoer.
You don't even have kids.
No.
No, he does. He has a dog.
That's why I spend the money on alcohol at home.
Smart choice.
So let's get into those Christmas Day games. So here are the four that are officially announced. Andrew's keeping us updated on if they release the fifth one. Some random reporter says, all right.
What is this email?
So one is Celtics at Sixers, which we just went over a little bit because Andrew thinks that they'll do the same matchup on opening night and Christmas Day.
Duh.
I mean, it'll be a good matchup both ways, just because of how good those teams are going to be. Another one is going to be that Lakers Warriors, LeBron James rematch against Golden State with the new look Lakers with all the
bum squad.
All the kids and
It's
personalities.
like the Suicide Squad.
Right, the
Lance Stevenson. I found it funny how they were talking, or Luke Walton was talking about how LeBron is the only one that's for sure starting. Everybody else saw
Shocker.
play for your spot. I was like, duh. I was like, you had to say that?
No, that's because if they weren't going, they didn't want to trade Brandon Ingram for Kawhi Leonard, then why is he not already a starter? Like, if he's this valuable to them and they signed Lance Stevenson and Michael Beasley, how the fuck is he not a starter already?
I think the main thing they're trying to get at was Rondo and Ball.
Yeah.
That's the one they're gonna. They're gonna.
Well,
have to
he's
fucking
already
play.
said that was already explicitly stated. Like
What?
Rondo?
that Rondo and Ball are going to have to fight for their spot.
Oh yeah.
But they can say Rondo and Ball is going to have to fight for their spot and say
all of them.
the rest
Stevenson
the rest
about
of
to take
our
that
lineup
spot.
is going to be.
So Stevenson's about to take Kuzma's spot? Like, this mountain boy.
Well then, so
Lance Stevenson has led the league before in triple doubles.
I don't know who other than JaVale McGee they have as far as big men go. I don't have the roster in front of me because they got rid of Brook Lopez, I believe, right?
I believe
Sure.
they did, yeah.
They got
And
rid
they
of
got rid of-
Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who their
who
other
did they
big man
fucking get?
is. I feel like they signed somebody. Oh, and they have
Well,
they
the
have
kid they drafted.
Mo Wagner,
Yeah.
but he's not going to start.
Yeah. No.
So JaVale McGee is their other starter. That it's going to be LeBron, JaVale McGee, and if I was Luke Walton, it'd be Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball.
So who you put at the 4?
Zubac.
LeBron?
Kuzma,
Kuzma?
yeah,
Yeah, they only have one. Oh no, JaVale McGee and Zubac.
and then Wagner,
So Mo
He's not
Wagner.
even listed on here.
but he'll be there over Zubac.
So I guess Mo Wagner is going to be their 4? Or they're going to have him listed as a 4?
Well, I mean, he's not going to be starting. Kuzma's going to be starting.
We don't know who's going to be starting.
Oh yeah, they got Wagner listed as a forward, not a center.
Yeah.
The only centers they have listed are JaVale McGee and Zubac.
So I mean,
Zubat.
Imagine Zubac beats JaVale McGee for the spot.
I mean,
Bum ass JaVale McGee.
Bum.
You know Shaq won't let him fucking start.
Gonna be on Shaq in the food.
just the first player, the tip off on their first game. He's gonna jump and tip it into the stands like 3 rows up. Or he's gonna jump and miss it, hit it with his elbow, something. So then, third game we have is Bucks at Knicks, which is your 2 unicorns, up and coming. Like, you could see them being the best player in the game in 3 years.
I'm not excited for that game.
I'm not either, but
It sounds like a terrible game.
No, that's not exciting because the Knicks has
Why are
been
we-
trash for like.
Yeah, I was like,
so
why are we
long.
giving the Knicks a Christmas game? That's not.
because they're the Knicks, because they're still a big draw. They still have.
No one's gonna watch that game. All right, cool. When the Knicks play, that's when we're eating.
Yo,
Well, that's the first game. That's going to be the first game of
right?
Christmas Day.
Get it out the way.
Oh, man,
Everybody's
that's the
opening
worst.
presents and waking up, and you're
The
like,
Knicks are losing by 20.
I think the Knicks are going to be decent this year. I think they did some good things.
If Porzingis
Because-
stays healthy.
Porzingis isn't even gonna come back till mid-season.
He's going to be back for Christmas Day now.
Yeah, that's his deadline. You have to be back. Jimmy D's all like, "Come on, bro, just come back."
Come on, bro.
Knox, I think he's going to be good. Tim Hardaway's a good player. They have an interesting roster that, I mean,
Yeah.
I could see them in an 8 seed because the East 8
it's
seeds
the
are
East.
always like 20 and 62. The fourth game that we know for sure is Portland and Utah. So that'll be kind of a rivalry game just because of their division. They seem to be battling it out for playoff spots. You have the guard play of the Blazers and Donovan Mitchell. And I think that'll be a highly competitive game. It might not have the same kind of star power that some of the other games have, but I still think that that's going to be a really good game for us basketball fans to watch. And I think we all kind of expect to see a Raptors at Spurs 5th game being announced. Because that'll bring Kawhi back to San Antonio for the first time.
Or at least opening day game.
Yeah, assuming that he's going to be playing and healthy. It'll also allow Danny Green to get his tribute video.
Does Danny Green deserve a tribute? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Just for being around.
I mean,
There's gonna be pictures of him like throwing up a peace sign at Club Rio. What's up? I'm here.
Just for all the blame that he took, the undeserved blame that he took for not.
from all you fans.
Man, there's a reason everybody called him Icy Hot.
Well, we didn't need him to be a 20-point scorer game. We needed him to defend.
It would have been nice.
It would have been nice.
Fans.
So
Spurs fans.
that's the 5th game that we kind of expect to see. It wouldn't surprise, I don't think, any of us to see the Rockets against somebody. Rockets Thunder, Rockets Spurs, something like that. Rockets Clippers even. But those are the 4 games and the 5th game that we kind of expect to see announced probably here shortly because somebody's going to announce it. David Aldridge, Adam Schefter even's going to get into the
Woj. The Woj.
Woj bomb's going
Woj bomb.
to be dropping
Woj
down
bomb's
from
gonna
the
be
sky.
like, joke's on y'all, there's only 4 games.
So that's the little NBA talk topic that we wanted to get into. Let's get into the NFL season because, like I said at the beginning of this, we're less than a month away.
And yes, we still love football.
Always and forever. So I'm just going to read down the list of the team, what their over-under number is according to Westgate. And y'all are going to tell me over, under. After we're done, then we'll get into our surprise teams. And then we'll move on from there. So the team that has the lowest over-under right now is Cleveland Browns at 4.5. Andrew, over or under?
Over. I'll take the over.
And Alvin.
I'm also taking over.
I'll give him at least a 5.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was going through and writing down my list of what I thought these teams were going to do, and I'm like, I have some teams going under, but it's like I just have them going the half game. I have them just getting, if they were 6.5, getting 6. So if you hear over under, don't think that we're just completely saying that their over under is 8.5 and we think they're gonna get 4. So Andrew, and I have Browns as over. I forgot to say mine. Andrew, Bengals 5.5.
I'm gonna say under.
Alvin,
I'm saying over.
and I have under as well.
Really?
I mean, you dumb. You don't realize this?
Dumb.
The Andy Dalton days are over.
You think it's numbered?
I think they're numbered there.
I think
Okay.
the number's like
I
1.
think
I was just going to say just like another 0.5.
I think
Yeah, I give him the 5.
well, I mean, I also look at the division they're in, and
I mean, their division is
Steelers,
just the Steelers.
Ravens, and Browns. But I think the Browns are going to be good.
I do think so too.
So, but yeah, I think, and kind of with the Ravens too, is I kind of think the days of Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco being possible. Like, I thought Andy Dalton was good enough for a while to lead the Bengals to a Super Bowl. They just had, stupid plays in a Steelers game that would have allowed them to go to an AFC championship. And they've never really been able to put all the pieces together offensively. But I think Andy Dalton was good enough a couple years ago to lead them there. But I think him and Joe Flacco, their best days are behind them. And so that's why I have the under there.
Uh-huh.
Cardinals 5.5. I have them as under. Andrew
I give him under.
and Alvin.
You said we could push, right?
Yeah.
I'll have them at push.
Man,
So you have
think
them
they're going to win half a game?
Yeah, that's
Huh?
You can't push half a game.
yeah. They're
Whoa.
5.5.
This is the easy way out.
That's why I made
under,
my
because
my
I'll have them at
announcement.
5.
yeah. That's why I had my
Then what's
announcement.
the point of having to push if you can't push?
There's
Well, I
Because
did.
you could tie
I
in
said-
NFL.
I
oh
said
shit!
we-
All of these are,
Yeah, I said we could push
Yeah.
before I saw that all of the odds are at half, so you have to go over or under,
Well, all right, under.
unless you have them tying a game.
Well,
But
that's what I was alluding to, but
who are they going to
Well-
tie?
that's why I'm just going to change it to under since
you don't get half a win for a
we're
tie.
acting
You
like
get-
ties
you get
don't
0.
happen in the NFL.
You get 0 wins for ties.
okay.
It goes 5 blank and 1. Come on, man.
So we had them.
All right.
Nope.
All right.
We had the Cardinals all at under. Dolphins are at 5.5. I have them at under.
I think we all going to have them at under.
Andrew, you gave the look. Do you have them over?
Nah, I'm doing it. I had to think
He
about
thought
it.
about it for
I had
a
to think
moment.
about it. I always get sucked into fucking Tannehill. So, yeah,
Tannehill's
Tannehill.
coming
The
Tannehill.
Tannehill hype.
No.
Can you name another player on their offensive side of the ball?
Not no more.
They're all gone.
Yeah, not no more.
No more.
Jay Cutler.
Jarvis Landry's gone. Jay Ajayi's gone.
Yeah. Miami's just not a good sport place.
They're good at basketball. They're good at
baseball.
They're good in their conference in basketball.
They were good at baseball a couple times, so.
They're actually surprisingly not as bad as everybody thought they were going to be this year.
True that.
They've only won 46 games, but I mean,
not bad for blowing it up.
but they were expected to go like that was their
20
expected
something.
win total like for the entire season.
Still happened.
So Andrew, Redskins 5.5 over under.
Under.
Alvin,
I'll say over.
and I got them under as well. Bills at 6.5. Alvin,
Under.
Andrew.
Over.
Really?
How the hell are you having them at over? I personally think that Buffalo Bills are going to be the worst team in the league next year.
Really?
So I have them at under.
Well, you can mark that down. Get a little point for when I said it, but yeah, they're going to win 7 games.
Oh, man. Bears are at 6.5. I have them at under. Alvin.
Under.
Andrew.
Under.
The Bears are...
I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL.
I think they're an interesting team because they just got the new coach, Nagy. They have... Trubisky. I think that's how his name is pronounced. I almost said Kupchak because his name's Mitch, and I was like,
Mitchell Trubisky.
I was like, wait a minute, this is football, not basketball. But he's getting into his second year. They had some good acquisitions. They signed the tight end who threw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I just don't. I think they're a year away from getting there. I think next year we might see them at like a 9-7, but this year I see them at like 5-11.
I think they still haven't signed their first round draft pick yet either.
Mm-hmm. Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having issues with that, but I mean he's going to be a great linebacker for them. I don't know why they're having issues with it. The next team we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6.5. I have them at over, but barely at 7. Alvin.
Oh man, I was thinking 7 also, but I'm going to say under. I'm not trusting what's his face?
Famous Jameis.
Yeah.
Andrew.
I think Famous Jameis is going to step it up this year. He's going to say over.
I know you were high on the Bucs last year, and they just never really
Yeah, I'll
put it all together.
Too.
I was a little scared putting over because Jameis is going to miss those first 3 games, and they're against relatively good teams.
I was thinking that too, but then I was all like, but what if they show that they play better without him?
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So I'm looking at this. They have 5 teams at 6.5. The Colts are at 6.5. I have them as over because Andrew Luck's back, and Andrew Luck can get them to 8 wins. Andrew,
he's back, but
Andrew Luck could get them to 8 wins if he had an offensive line to help him.
Well, he hasn't had an offensive line in the years that they were winning the division with him.
And he's broken down. He's damaged goods. I say under.
Alvin, you under as well?
Exactly, because we haven't seen him throw the ball
in like 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting season. I can see them getting to 7 wins, but
how?
I just said
based off of Andrew
Luck. T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton is another name don't you dare throw out there. Everyone's been saying T.Y. Hilton for like the past 3-4 years. Came home empty-handed.
Who's their running back?
Trent Richardson.
It's not Frank Gore anymore.
Nope.
No. Who did they picked up a running back.
Did they?
Last year they had a decent running game.
Because Frank Gore.
Was it Frank Gore last year? Jesus.
Yes.
I feel like that was like
No,
3 years ago.
Well, it was like a couple years.
That's why he went to Miami. He's going to finish it off in Miami.
Hey, we named another Dolphin.
Hey, there we go. Now put them over.
The New York Jets are at 6.5. I have them at under. I'm not very confident on that, but Alvin,
I say over.
Andrew,
It's an over for the Jets.
Yep.
I go under. Stay under with the Jets.
Stay.
yeah, they have.
Always take the under with the Jets. If it's down to 1, under.
So now into the teams at 7.5. We have the Denver Broncos, who I have at under. Andrew,
I'll give them over.
I say
Alvin.
under.
I don't know how the Case Keenum experiment's going to go. I don't know how their offense is going to look. I don't know if their defense is going to be able to bounce back, and it's going to be an interesting team because on one hand, if Case Keenum does the same stuff that he did in Minnesota, they're an 11-5 team range, and then if Case Keenum and the Broncos do what I can kind of see them doing, they're going to be 4-12. Like, it's just, they're in a tough division, and they have to play extremely well.
Like, are you getting Case Keenum with Minnesota, or are you getting Case Keenum when he was with the Texans, Rams, just not doing nothing?
Yeah. Well,
since I keep refreshing Twitter, things keep popping up too, and just a little breaking news. Greg Hardy, another 17-second knockout in UFC Contender Series.
oh man.
But Dana White says he still hasn't earned a contract yet.
It's his true calling.
Apparently.
Beating people up.
Another one of the 7.5s is the Kansas City Chiefs. Andrew.
Over.
I got them over as well.
Same here. It's the most intriguing thing to me for the Chiefs is to see what type of offense Andy Reid runs now that Nagy's gone and Mahomes is
You actually have
starting.
a quarterback that could throw it deep.
Deep. That dude has a cannon.
Yes.
But he's also, as he's more athletic than Alex Smith, and you have another year of Kareem Hunt and all of those guys. So I think the Chiefs are going to be a pretty formidable team this year. To me, kind of a surprise to see them. This is the Giants. They have at 7.5. I have them under. Alvin?
Of course I got them under.
Andrew?
Under.
Yeah, that's
Why are you asking us?
yeah, I mean, I just got to make sure y'all are on record saying I'm not. If I'm the only one saying over or under, I'm the only one that's liable to get.
Now, do you give OBJ his payday, though?
Oh, man. I was thinking about this earlier when I was listening to ESPN radio, and Will Kane was teasing what if Khalil Mack was on the trade block, what would he be worth? So I thought about players' worth in the NFL, and I'm a big believer in building a team. And kind of the NBA is a little different because, if you have that one great player, he can lead you to an NBA Finals, and you just want to get good pieces around him, but you don't need an outstanding other player. It helps nowadays, but if you pay somebody so much money, and that makes you not prevents you from being able to pay, let's say, 3 guys that are average to above average at a position instead of paying the 3 guys who are below average at a position just because you paid the one great player. What do? And to me, I feel like you could pay other guys the same amount of money that you would pay one guy and get the same amount of production overall, especially in the wide receiver. And that's why Julio Jones is having his issues with contracts. Like Julio Jones and OBJ, they definitely deserve this big contract, this big payday. But look at what quarterbacks and teams have done with just to put the term, like say the term is no-name receivers, guys that aren't, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens. They're not Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, AJ Green. Look at what some of the teams do. The Jags were minutes away from going to the Super Bowl with not a very good quarterback, with not very good receivers. They were minutes away from going to a Super Bowl, and they should have, but they took their foot off the gas against New England. So I've always been a believer in fill the team, and then if money comes up that you can pay, like the guy, if you build a team properly and you utilize the rookies that you have or the young guys that you still have on the rookie scale, and to be able to pay one guy that's so much money, and then when the rookies come up off of their contract, you can figure it out then. So I think OBJ deserves it, but if I'm the Giants, I don't pay him. I let him walk.
I agree.
Because you're not going to go anywhere with OBJ getting paid $22 million a year.
Just stay mediocre if that's what they want.
Put that $22 million in an offensive line. A new quarterback or something. So, the next team are my Lions at 7.5. Guess what, guys?
Under.
I have them over. I don't know by how much, but I see them getting at least 8 wins this year. I think Matt Patricia, they're going to be a lot freer of a team than they have been, because Jim Caldwell, I think, never really let, like he did. I believe in the culture changes. Mark Jackson taught the Warriors to play defense, to be professionals. I mean, Steph and Clay are sons of NBA pros, so they kind of knew how to be professional, but like he taught them how to play team defense and share the ball and stuff like that. But they could only get so far with him. They fire him, they bring in Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr pretty much just rolls the ball out and says, look, y'all know how to defend, y'all know how to pass the ball. Like,
let me get some credit for it.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared to shoot a 30-footer, because you can. Like, we don't need to worry that you're taking a bad shot being at the half court line. Like so he let them open it. He let Steph and Clay and the offense open up, and they weren't trying to run this pro style offense with guys who can shoot better than anybody. So I think that's what Matt Patricia is going to kind of help bring in, is Jim Caldwell ran such a tight-knit program, especially coming off of the Jim Schwartz era, where they were leading the league in penalties, and then Ndamukong Suh was kicking guys in the nuts and stepping on people's helmets, and they were emotional. They weren't so tight-knit. They weren't so buttoned down that Stafford was, throwing 20 interceptions in a season. Then
could it maybe be because he wasn't that good?
These last few years, well, he was forcing a lot to Calvin Johnson at the time, but these last few years,
we know Megatron's good though.
He's really good.
Can we say the same about Matt Stafford?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Just
like you think that Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady.
He is.
For another show, guys. For another.
We've already gone down that rabbit hole. But
he's not that good.
But see, talent wise, Matt Stafford could be right near the top as far as like if you just looked at arm talent, athleticism, the things that he can do on the field.
Who else do you have up there right up the top?
Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady.
My face could be a meme right now because
Russell Wilson. He's up there.
oh, that's another one though.
Hey,
he's up
people
there
knock
now.
on Russell Wilson. I'm like, why?
At the beginning of his career, everybody, like, when he won the first Super Bowl, and everybody was like, oh, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback.
The defense won the Super Bowl.
I was like, no, he's not. He's middle of the pack statistically. Like, literally statistically, he was 15th in, like, passing yards, 16th in touchdown passes, like 14th in QBR. Like, he was a middle of the pack quarterback.
and at the same time, his defense was leading the league in touchdowns.
So you're a Cowboys fan.
Uh-huh.
So answer this honestly: is Dak Prescott better than Matthew Stafford?
Dak Prescott and Rao compared to Matt Stafford now?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even close.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even close. Matt Stafford is old and bad.
Look at Dak Prescott's numbers without Ezekiel Elliott, and look at him with Ezekiel Elliott. Now tell me, has Matt Stafford ever played with a running back?
Well,
like Zeke?
he hasn't had Ezekiel Elliott in like what, 8 weeks? He didn't have him the last 8 weeks.
He missed. No, Zeke came back the last 2.
Oh, the last 2.
Yeah, he missed 6 weeks.
Regardless,
They went 13-3 in their rookie seasons because Zeke led the league in rushing.
and
In
you need to establish a run game to start your pass game.
Right, exactly.
We
And
know
Matt
this.
Stafford hasn't had a run game and isn't. You know, I believe that the Lions haven't had a 100-yard rusher in a game since Reggie Bush in 2015.
I thought you was gonna say since Barry Sanders.
No, but it's been a long time since they had a rusher that could get them, that they could rely on to not make Matt Stafford do amazing things. But he's led them back more times in the fourth quarter than any other team has had fourth quarter comebacks.
Mm.
And that's the thing.
Don't
that
you dare put him near Tom Brady.
I said near the top, like talent wise.
You said up there at the top with them.
If I was-
that's why I asked you. I said, who else do you have up there? Jose was like, no, don't put him near Drew. Don't put him near Tom. Don't even put him near Ben.
He's just speaking off talent alone. He's not talking
talent alone. Like Jay Cutler in his prime could have been the most talented quarterback in the league.
No.
Talent.
No.
What he could do with the football. But the problem was between the ears with Jay Cutler.
You still have to do it.
And that's the problem with Matt Stafford, is between the ears, he's still not. He's seconds late on
That's
something.
part of talent. Like you can do it, but you have to do it, and he didn't do it.
Well, so
Three dudes.
But that's I'm talking about. I'm talking about ceiling, I guess, talent wise, because talent wise, Dak Prescott's ceiling isn't Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
It's Matt Stafford. Maybe a little like a notch higher.
No. Matt Stafford runs just as well as Dak Prescott does.
What?
Have you not seen Matt Stafford run?
Matt Stafford don't run. He's flat-footed. Damn cinder blocks attached to his feet.
Oh my god.
You gonna say he runs just as good as Aaron Rodgers?
No, he doesn't do that. No, he runs better than. I'd say he runs better than.
Maybe better than me.
You're gonna say Tom Brady?
I was trying to think of all the quarterbacks because Bortles can move. Bortles and Matt Stafford are probably on an equal level as far as athleticism goes. Because Bortles isn't bad. Alex Smith is probably right around the same athleticism. Do y'all not watch football? Am I? Because have y'all not seen these guys?
I don't think Alex Smith is.
He's not Cam Newton.
Well, I'm saying his athleticism has diminished.
They're still running these crazy sweeps in Kansas City with him.
And which was wrong.
Well, they worked. They got
what?
It works once every now and then.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work.
Man, y'all don't watch football then. Jesus.
Man, you look at numbers. We look at the field.
No, I watched the games. I don't care about the numbers because numbers lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers can be
are the one things
inflated.
they don't lie.
No, numbers can be inflated. Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards 6 straight seasons. They made the playoffs in 2 of those. He threw for those yards.
The yards have to be put up. The touchdowns have to be
because
scored.
they were a bad team, and he had to throw.
Didn't sound like a bad team. Doesn't sound like a bad team. You got to put up all those yards.
I mean, the Lions. Matt Stafford threw for 5,000 yards twice. I think maybe three times.
So are we talking about the Lions or are we talking about over-under?
We're talking about over under.
We're talking about how he fell for the Matt Stafford smoke bomb.
Well, that conversation didn't even lead the Matt Stafford thing. I was getting some perspective on what you thought of other quarterbacks.
Next Matt Stafford.
So the people who do listen to this can be like, this guy knows nothing about football. Jesus Christ, why is he on a sports podcast?
Matt Stafford ain't no good.
Pure entertainment value.
So Andrew has the Lions at under. Alvin?
I'm saying under as well. I was fighting that one also. Because I think they average about 8-9 wins, right?
They were 10-6 last year.
Yeah, and that was
9-7. I think they lost Matt Stafford got hurt in week 15, and they lost the last 2 games that would have gotten them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they missed the playoffs by a game. Another 7-5 or 7.5 team is the Titans. I have them over. Alvin?
I got them over.
Andrew?
Over.
The Ravens are at 8.5. I have them under.
Under as well.
And Andrew?
How do they have them at 8.5?
I give him 9.
You give the Ravens 9, and you
What?
don't give the Lions over 7. That was mainly a joke. I mean, it hurts my heart a little bit. But, the Panthers are at 8.5. Andrew?
Panthers 8.5. I'll take them under.
Alvin?
I'll say over.
And I have them over as well. The Cowboys are at 8.5. I have them over. Alvin?
Come on. Over.
Come on isn't over or under. Come on's a statement. Andrew, under, right?
Yep. Exactly.
14-2 from. The Saints are at 8.5. Andrew?
Under.
Really?
He's just trying to get April mad. That's all he's trying to do. Alvin?
Does he not watch
Over.
football? She's gonna start calling me names.
And I have them at over.
You have to.
No, I don't. I'll tell her honestly what I think of the Saints. The Raiders. The one thing that does scare me about the Saints is the fact that Drew Brees is 40.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I'm like, if he shows his age, then they're 3-13.
He's 40. He's still not. He never grew.
He never.
So let's just hope he can
he's
keep it up.
He's the same height as he was last year, and
Exactly.
they were a play away from the NFC Championship game.
And that was a year ago.
But that was relying on
That
the
wasn't
defender
even a
this
year
year.
ago.
But that was last year.
That was like 6 months ago.
That was a year ago.
7 months ago.
Even closer.
Raiders are at 8.5. I have them at under.
I have them under.
Raiders 8.5. I'll take them over.
Really?
Yeah, the Raiders really disappointed me last year because I was a big believer in like the growth of that team. They're going to be interesting because of John Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
What does he look like coaching for the first time in
Yep.
Fucking how
10
long?
years.
Yep.
So they have the 49ers at 8.5. I have that as an under. Alvin,
I'm saying under as well.
Andrew.
Way under.
Seems like a spoiler alert there. The Seahawks are at 8.5. I have them at under. Alvin.
Boy, I'm saying over.
Andrew.
I have them over.
Falcons 9.5. Under for me. Andrew.
Under.
Alvin.
Under.
Texans 9.5. I have them as under. Andrew.
Over.
Oh,
Alvin.
under.
I'm going pretty much speed round to get through these, and so that we can actually get into some conversation that we kind of got. I blame Andrew. The Jags are at 9.5. I have them as over. Andrew.
Under.
Alvin.
Over.
I don't trust Blake Bortles still.
Chargers at 9.5. Alvin.
Over.
Andrew.
Way under.
And I have them at under. Rams 9.5. Andrew.
Over.
Alvin.
Over.
Over.
And I have them at over. Vikings 10.5. I have over. Andrew.
Over.
Alvin.
Over.
Packers 10.5. Alvin.
Under.
Andrew.
Under.
And I have under.
And yes, that is a shot if our friend is listening.
Andrew. Patriots 10.5.
Under.
Alvin.
Under.
And I have under as well. Eagles 10.5. Andrew.
Under.
Alvin.
Under.
And I have them over. And then Steelers 10.5. Alvin.
Over.
Andrew.
Over.
And I have over as well. So now let's get those surprises out of the way. Andrew, what team did you pick over because you think they're going to go way over what the over-under was put at?
The Rams.
So they're at 9.5, so you have them at what, 12-4?
12-4, 13-3.
Yeah, they're gonna.
That wouldn't surprise me either. What?
I think one of the things that's gonna help them is they're probably gonna go 6-0 in their division.
Damn, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
They're probably easy 6-0 in their division, so that means they just have to go 6-4 the rest of their games to get to that 12-4 mark, which I could easily see them doing because they're just they picked up a lot of talented players, and it's just it goes with that natural progression. Did they bring in a lot of guys from the outside that aren't going to click as well as the team they had last year? Or is everybody going to realize that they're a year older and they're just going to get better and follow that natural progression? So I think the Rams are going to be scary. Alvin, what's the team that you have as your surprise for positive gains?
The Browns, they got them at 4.5. I say 7.5.
Oh wow!
You have them winning a half a game? That's crazy.
So insane.
Do you have them leaning more towards 7 or towards 8?
Towards 8. Tyrod Taylor.
I think all
Landry,
the moves. I think
Gordon,
all the moves
yep,
that they made.
all their moves.
And their defense wasn't bad last year. Like they have an up and coming defense.
Their defense has always been like that surprise defense.
The problem was Deshaun Kaiser would throw a 10-yard out, and it would look like Peyton Manning's passes when he was 40. Tyrod Taylor's going to allow that offense to do
and
things.
their tight end that they drafted from Miami still did pretty decent with that carousel of
something.
I forget his name right now. Yeah, that's
Osaka. I don't know. The team that I put is I don't know how they have them at 8.5, but I mentioned it's going to depend on how Father Time affects everything, but I have the Saints because their defense was a focal point over the last 5 years, trying to get them a good, solid defense. Last year's draft, they hit every single draft pick. I think they did really well this year, taking Marcus Davenport out of UTSA in the first round to pair him with Cam Jordan. So now Jordan doesn't have to be the only pass rusher. You still have the running back tandem, and you still have Drew Brees running the show. And as long as Drew Brees at 40 isn't 10 times worse than Drew Brees at 39, they're going 12-4. Like, there's no way that they're going under 12-4 to me unless, injuries happen, which we've said before, we don't predict injuries, or based on injury, we predict if everybody's healthy. And if everybody's healthy and Drew Brees can hold up for the entire season, this is a 12-4 team, and I can see them as the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. Now, what teams are going to burst their bubble this year? I'm going to lead off. When I saw the other 8.5 teams that they had listed, and I saw Seattle at 8.5, I couldn't find more than 6 wins, and I honestly don't see them winning 6. I think the Seahawks this year, with all of the changeover on the defense, with the drama with Earl Thomas, losing Jimmy Graham, I think their offense got worse. I don't think they fixed their offensive line problems. I don't see talent other than on offense. They had decent running backs, but they kept getting hurt. Like, each week a different running back got hurt. But it's Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin, and I don't know if they still have Curse, but I don't think that they're 8.5 wins talented. And they're going to be that team that drops. And I have them. Let's see. I have them right there with the Cardinals as the worst team in the NFC West. Alvin.
Well, I already mentioned earlier that I felt like the Bears will be the worst team in the NFL, but since they got the Falcons so high, I'm going to say the Falcons. I see them in that lower tier of their division at like 5-6 wins.
Yeah, I think the NFC South is a really tough division. Well, at least it was supposed to be last year, and it was last year because they had 3 teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But even the Bucs were supposed to be better than they were. With the Falcons, I had them before the season started, I picked them to win the Super Bowl because that's just how talented they are. And then they just had a letdown. And their players aren't getting any younger. They already kind of started getting up there in age. So the Falcons will be, I think they can be an X-Factor team, along with a couple of these other in the middle of the pack where you can see something happening and clicking where they just run off 5 wins in a row, and all of a sudden they're looking at an 11-5 season when they were only supposed to win 8. And I think the Falcons, they could be that where, Matt Ryan could easily click. This is going to be his second year in the Sarkisian system after the great year with the Shanahan system. And it'll be interesting to see how their offense regains form. Andrew, who do you have losing the mojo?
I was kind of surprised that they had them that high.
Don't you dare say the Lions.
Well, that would be too obvious, huh? I've got the Chargers. I don't know about 9.5. I don't see them I really don't see them winning with getting over 500. I see them going like 6-10.
Yeah, I think last year I saw them going like 6-10, and they were like a game away from making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is with every receiver that they had getting hurt. Like, I think Keenan Allen finally had a season where he didn't get hurt and put up the best numbers of his career. If Joey Bosa's injury that he sustained isn't that serious, he's able to play at least 14 games. The rest of their defense is pretty good. I kind of see the Chargers like right at that 9-win threshold.
I say like 9-10.
Like that's the reason I had them under and the over under is I saw them at like 8-8, 9-7. But there is that division with the Raiders under Gruden in his first year, with Cooper and Carr and Marshawn and all of, like, the defense that they can have. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Raiders. They're put at 8.5 on the over under. Like, they could go 10-6. The Broncos, you never know what's going to click with them. And then the Chiefs, like, they can all be that can be a very competitive and should be a very competitive division. Whether or not, I think the first team that gets to 10 wins in that division wins it. So we'll continue our NFL season preview in the weeks coming, because for the third time, the NFL season starts in less than a month. On our next podcast, we'll go over fantasy football stuff. And if we can fit in another podcast, I'll be out of town next week. So if we can make up that podcast, then we'll have an NFL season preview with our picks and all the other fun stuff that comes with the NFL season. So let's go into On Fire, In Dire, and Prophesies. I'll lead off with my On Fire, the Boston Red Sox. Talked about them last week. Like, I put them now they're my World Series favorites. Their sweep of the Yankees, especially that the last game where they came back from 3 runs in the 9th to win it in extras.
Bless it.
I think it went to extras. But they just continue rolling. So I don't have much more to say on them because they're literally on fire. Alvin, who did you have?
Well, I just want to do a little fire for the Little League World Series that got started. But my fire is T.O. and the Hall of Fame. Finally, after 3 ballots, making it. He should have been a first ballot.
A customer asked me today, what did I think about T.O., and I was like, oh, I'm in agreement with T.O. because he should have, because I think Randy Moss was a first ballot.
Yep,
right?
First ballot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if Randy Moss is a first ballot, T.O. definitely should have been a first ballot.
Yep, and I read an article, I forget the name of the person again, but he was talking about how was Randy Moss a first ballot when he
quit on teams,
and he also played for the same amount of teams that T.O. played with, and he ends up being a first ballot. It's just that T.O.'s personality didn't mesh with the media and all that stuff, and I felt like for the media to do that, to like go out their way to not let somebody in the Hall of Fame when his numbers proves that he's either the second best wide receiver of all time third best.
What frustrated me more than like any Randy Moss thing going on is when people were like, well, all receivers have to wait, which is true. Like, even Jerry Rice wasn't even a first ballot Hall of Famer. Receivers just don't go in on the first ballot. And I forgot who was saying it, and I heard it a couple times, but they were like, even Chris Carter had to wait. And I'm like, Terrell Owens is better than Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Like,
But like they didn't have to wait because the media was out to get them though.
Yeah.
That's a whole different like situation. Like this, like actual media members that vote in the Hall of Fame were not voting for T.O. just because
they didn't like his personality and his persona in that.
Well, it's fitting coming that NFL had to make the rule excessive celebration for a touchdown because of T.O.
and Chad Johnson.
Oh,
They were both
it was Chad Johnson and Steve Smith and Joe Horn.
But T.O. ran from the end zone to the 50-yard line to Dallas Star multiple times. What was it, twice in that game?
Yeah, he did it the first time, and then the second time, somebody on the Cowboys
Was it
did it.
No, the second time he just went to slam the ball.
And that's when Woodson came and
Yeah.
And then the time where he left, he had the Sharpie in his socks.
yeah.
But so the excessive celebration, he had a lot to do with that, and now he misses the Hall of Fame ceremony. NFL, or is it the NFL, or is it the actual Hall of Fame making a rule where you have to make attendance mandatory?
I think that's the actual Hall of Fame. Because I don't think the NFL rules over that.
I found that fitting.
Yeah, I just.
But
Did y'all? So I don't know if y'all heard the story. So T.O. did his Hall of Fame thing
at his high school,
at his college, at UT Chattanooga. But he actually received his gold jacket, and they don't send out. They were going to send his gold jacket out Saturday, so he wouldn't have had it for his ceremony. One of his friends, who's also friends with Ray Lewis, he was in Canton. He was there Saturday when they were, they gave out all the gold jackets. He went up to people and asked if he could take T.O. his gold jacket. And so he was up with Ray Lewis until like 4 a.m, partying and celebrating the Hall of Fame. He takes T.O.'s jacket, gets on a plane, flies down to Atlanta, doesn't realize that there's not a connecting flight from Atlanta to Chattanooga, has to rent a car or get a driver to drive him from Atlanta to Chattanooga to deliver T.O. his gold jacket. And he got there at like noon the day of the celebration, and T.O. was supposed to go on at like 3:30. So T.O. got his gold jacket right before he was supposed to like have his big celebration because of one of his friends flying down, taking a car and getting him his jacket.
I like what he did. I like what he ended up doing though, like having a party over there and all that stuff.
And what I heard is, I didn't get to watch it. I was at the beach all weekend, but what I heard is like in his speech, he talked about like, he was like, have you ever been bullied? Have you ever been pushed aside? Have you ever been looked down on? Like, looked over, all this stuff. And he was like, please stand up. And the entire arena stood up to him. And so it was like, he knew that, you know, him and even Randy Moss and a lot of the receivers, a lot of the great receivers of all time in the NFL have always been looked over. Like, I can't remember what school Jerry Rice went to, but I'm pretty sure Jerry Rice went to some...
It was a low-end school.
No, like Missouri State or something. And so they're looked over so much, and then they get into the NFL, they get their shot, and they make the most of it. So T.O. is definitely deserving of the Hall of Fame. Andrew, your fire?
My fire, I had the same thing as you, as the Boston Massacre. That 4-game sweep. Man, that was... I don't want to say scary.
The Yankees are like the second best team in baseball, and they're 9 games back in their division.
All because of Boston.
Like, that's nuts. That's nuts how good they are.
They made it that way. Boston did that.
Andrew, you're in Dyer.
My Dyer, following up with the Boston Massacre, is Giancarlo Stanton. Not so much against Boston, but getting struck out by Matt Davidson, the position player,
Oh,
third baseman
yeah.
for the White Sox. Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know.
last night.
Yeah, that was just. It was fun to watch, but I bet it didn't feel good at the plate. I mean, he laughed it off, but
He's just,
Hey, but you know, deep down inside, he's just like,
motherfucker.
Poppy's gonna call me the whiffer again. Highly questionable.
I'm gonna be on ESPN, but for the not top 10.
Right.
He's
You know it's going to be.
Yeah, he's just, oh man, it's astounding to me how like great these baseball players are, but yet they can't hone themselves in. Cause like I didn't watch that at bat, but like how fast could Davidson be
It was
pitching?
77.
Like yeah, like right around 80.
Yeah.
And he's able to hit 102-mile-an-hour fastballs.
This is a batting practice pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
Like how, unless this dude's throwing like some weird knuckleball because he's a position player, but there's no way. At least put like you don't have to hit a home run or get on base,
Make contact.
but you have to make, you have to make contact. Alvin and Dyer for you.
My Dyer is the Packers receiving core.
Receiving core.
Receiving core.
Yes.
Receiving core.
Not so much like Randall Cobb and like Devontae Adams. It's just like who's the next one up after them. It seems like they're having issues there, like with their work ethic and like just being real sloppy, like not knowing the plays and things like that. And that's word from Rodgers himself.
Yeah, they'll be fine. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. But
Relax.
I'm sure that's what he's saying in his head.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are gonna be fine, and I hate them. I hate them. Because we already gone down the rabbit hole with my feelings. My Dyer is Ohio State football.
Oh yeah, that's a big story.
Get your shit together.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer.
Like you want to give people benefit of the doubt. You want to be able to like get through everything, but at a certain point, you have to just say, let's bite the bullet. Like one, you're Ohio State football. You can afford to pay a buyout because you don't pay your football players. So if you fire Urban Meyer and you have to pay him because you fired him for lack of calls or whatever the legal term is.
How do you feel about them firing him for that though?
I just watched Art Briles get fired by Baylor, and he was doing the same thing.
Wait, they fired?
Urban Meyer.
Wait, they fired?
They fired Art Briles because that was the prostitution, right? Or sexual harassment wasn't.
It was sexual harassment. It was a lot bigger of a scandal.
But this was within his coaching staff
staff
and his team, right?
This
This is in regards to business.
Yeah.
Urban Myers wasn't in regards to business.
Oh, the Baylor thing was the team were like
I thought it
going
was
to
players
parties
that
and
were,
they were sexually abusing women, and the coaching staff knew about it, and even the president of the university apparently knew about it.
They were like shutting the girls up, like giving them money.
Pushed it under the rug and all that.
But I see that being different than Urban Meyer's situation.
Right, but I mean, it's definitely the Baylor thing was worse.
Yeah, it's much worse.
Definitely, but you can even go to like Rick Pitino. You can go to a lot of different coaches getting fired.
Well, Rick Pitino was taking money.
No, Rick Pitino was the prostitution one.
Oh wait,
he was the prostitution one, but he
Who was taking money?
he actually survived off of the prostitution. He got fired because they got put under scrutiny for the Adidas
the money.
shoe deal. And he wasn't taking money. It was that his players were taking money.
Yeah. To sign with Adidas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
the thing is, you can't compare those is because...
The reason I say, like, if you're Ohio State, like, Urban Meyer is a great football coach, but you can fire him, get a new coach, save face as a university and a program, and you're Ohio State. How long are you going to be bad? You're going to get another great coach because, let me repeat, you're Ohio State. You're one of the top 5 college football programs of all time. I believe Ohio State is 3rd in wins in football. They'll be fine without Urban Meyer. But if they are going to go through a full investigation and let this story drag on and not just say, look, Urban, you're fired, then they can get muddied as a reputation. Look at Penn State. Like, Franklin's done a great job there. Bill O'Brien did a decent job there. But when people think of Penn State, they think of the Paterno scandals. And that was a long, storied program of football tradition. If something is bad enough, people will remember the bad better more than the good.
If you're Ohio State, do you fire him?
Yes.
Fire Urban Meyer?
That's what I was saying. Like, if I'm Ohio State, I'm firing him. I can afford the buyout.
I just don't think I don't think he should be fired for someone else's personal matters.
I think it's a bad look if you keep the guy who knew about abuse. Let's say that Zeke was guilty and Jason Garrett knew Zeke was guilty. He had evidence of Zeke being guilty, and I mean, I've heard 2 different stories, because there are 2 different stories, because Urban Meyer has one lied about it and told the truth about it, and you don't know which one's which, because he said he didn't know about it and then he said he knew about it.
That's where I would
he
say, like, you should probably cut ties from him, because he tried to cover it up.
But if Jason Garrett had covered Zeke's abuse up, all hypothetical, and it comes out that he covered it up for Zeke, even though it was just the one person, he was still covering up abuse. And you know how long that is going to tarnish the reputation of the Cowboys, who already don't have this most sterling reputation. And Jason Garrett and even Zeke, like it's easier to just say, look, we're going to fire you, mainly because it'll allow everything to kind of, I think it would allow things to get settled down, wash away, in the program to save face.
I don't think they should fire him, because if he was told about it, it was in confidence. It was someone confiding in him. And, I mean, at what point there's secrets, like,
so
everything has to be outed now. That's what it seems like.
So if I was telling you that I guess it was the wife that told Urban Meyer. It wasn't the coach, it was the wife saying, here are the text messages of him admitting that he choked me and he did these things. Like,
you would still accept somebody like that on your staff?
I mean, I believe it should stay in the household. That's why I'm saying it's a personal matter. This isn't a business matter.
But when she comes to you and confides to you,
I mean, you talk to him, but I don't.
Like, that's where I feel like it gets sticky, because she came to Urban Meyer expecting, I don't think she went to him to confide to him and just be like, this is what's going on. I felt like she went to him and saying hey, this is what's going on. I need help. Something needs to happen.
Yeah,
That's how I
even
felt
then,
like it came
even
across.
if it's
But why
like,
would she be coming to him in the
That's-
movie and is like, "Don't bring this to my
Andrew,
crib"?
I think that's the thing that you're missing is that this situation should not be a private home life situation anymore. Like, men should not be able to choke their wives when they're angry, and
No, of course
And-
not. But
that's
the
what-
wives
that's what-
shouldn't go telling, like, I mean, they should go. I'm not saying don't tell other people, but why are you telling me? Like, did they have that kind of relationship?
I would assume so.
I believe he was a player for Urban Meyer, and they've known Urban Meyer for a long time. Because they showed his resume about all the things that he's done, and he's been an assistant coach for Urban Meyer since like 2011. He was like the receivers coach this year, and he's been in like around Urban Meyer for a while.
Because like if I'm Urban Meyer and this gets brought up, I was like, don't bring this to me because there's no good will come out of it.
And I mean, the reputation of Urban Meyer is to kind of let things slide. Look back at his time at Florida.
Yeah.
Like, he had Aaron Hernandez on his team.
And
He also had Tim Tebow.
and Cam Newton.
That was his saving grace.
He saved everyone's grace.
Literally.
But all right, but on your point, if he like said like don't bring this to me, and like she ends up taking it to like the authorities or whatever, and the story breaks out like, oh, she even like brought it up to Urban Meyer,
Yeah,
but
she-
he
here are
like
the
Well, that's what's happening now apparently.
Here are the texts to Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer saying, I don't want any of this.
Like, call the authorities. Don't call me.
Like, that's it. That's again. This is the only dragging this out.
Because it's
only
like
makes things worse.
this isn't my story to tell.
No matter whatever comes of it, the longer it goes, the worse it's going to look
Oh yeah.
on both sides, and that's why if I'm Ohio State, I'm cutting it now, because you can, if he's not a part of your institution anymore and the investigation goes on a little further and all that stuff, but through him and his ties to everything, you've gotten rid of the coach with the abuse, you've gotten rid of the coach who covered up the abuse or denied knowing about the abuse and all that stuff. You've gotten rid of all the bad eggs. You can say, like, look, we were working on, like, we found out about this year whenever it came up, that they can nip it in the bud now. And I think that would be the right thing to do for Ohio State. Is just bite the bullet. Like, it's
like it goes to the Ray Rice thing too. Like the Ravens held out before actually like cutting ties with Ray Rice, and because at first it was just the news, right? And then all of a sudden TMZ was like shows the video.
yeah. And once that video came out, they were like, oh nope, never mind,
Yeah.
you're gone.
That's the downside of all the access that we have to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
No,
is
nothing's private.
everything is to appease the crowd.
Nothing's private.
Nothing is private. That's the worst. Like
And Ray Rice,
that's why if I'm Urban Myers, this gets brought up, like, you contact the authorities. Don't contact me. I don't like. I'm sorry. This is a personal home matter. You call the cops. I can't save you. You giving me this knowledge is gonna hurt me.
yeah, but
Yeah. So
He didn't do that.
if that was what he did, I would
Yeah.
agree with you.
yeah,
That is not what he did,
Exactly.
and that's why he should be fired.
What did he do? Oh, I mean, obviously we just went over what he
Yeah,
did.
he denied it. He covered it up, and then he admitted to it after the fact that he already lied about it. It's a shitty situation for Urban Meyer, because even if, like, there were reports that he actually did take the proper protocol to get everything situated, and then those people didn't do their jobs, and that's why it's under investigation, and that's why he's on paid administrative leave. But again, like I said, the longer it drags out, the longer that Ohio State's reputation gets drug through the mud, and you can find another head coach to your football team. And
it's just a matter of recency bias right now. It's just everything's like.
Yeah, everything's now.
You're gonna fire Urban Meyer, but he's brought you to the playoffs already. He won you a national championship.
Yes, and
it's a microwavable society.
Baylor got into a shit ton of trouble because they were hiding those things because they kept winning and winning more games. Like, I was there in 2008 when RG3 was a freshman. They went like 4-7, 4-8 that year, and they weren't a good team. The next year, RG3 tears his ACL for the first time, and they're bad that year. And then the next year, they beat OU, who was like the number 2 team in the country. But they still were, a 7-5 team. They're 6-6, something like that. I think they made a bowl game that year. And then the last year of RG3 was the first year Baylor was good at football since the mid-'80s. Since Mike Singletary was playing for Baylor. So all of a sudden, Art Briles has helped build and recruit these talented players, and they're winning, and they win back-to-back Big 12 championships, and Baylor's getting Oregon-type uniforms, and they're on national TV, and they're going to BCS games, and they're the biggest, hottest team in the country. Like, that money is going to Baylor and helping them build. It helped build them a new stadium. It helped give them all this stuff. So you're winning and you're getting money, and that greed and that pride and all the respect and recognition you're getting goes to your head. And so instead of doing the morally right thing, you try to keep winning and getting money. And so if you, Ohio State could easily let this spiral out of control if they keep putting it off, or you would hope that something like this happening would change anybody's ways in Ohio State, but you never know if that's going to be the case until it's either too late. It's typically too late. So that wraps up our Dyers. You said you're Dyer, right, Andrew? I'm not crazy? I might be crazy.
Giancarlo.
I mean, we all know you're crazy, but
I'm a little crazy. It's okay to be a little crazy. Andrew, what is your prophecy?
I wrote this down before everything started coming out. The NBA schedule is going to show Spurs at Toronto. Well, it's going to be Toronto at Spurs on Christmas Day. Like, shit, I forgot what I wrote. Yeah, the schedule's pretty much already come out.
We're still waiting on that one.
Still waiting for the last
even though
one.
we all think that was going to be the case.
And you're a fool to think that the NBA didn't leak these all out on purpose, except for this one.
Right, it's gonna be the epic bombshell.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Alvin, what is your prophecy?
My prophecy is Texas will represent us in the Little League World Series,
which they've done, I think, the past 4 years.
Right?
Has it been the past?
Last year was.
Did they go last year?
McAllister Park.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
It's been McAllister Park a couple times.
Yeah, they did it last year, and I think 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's not a.
But I think this one is they have a harder time because I think New Mexico actually has a good young squad also.
And my prophecy, which it typically is when there's a big golf tournament or big tennis tournament, is golf or tennis. I have come Sunday at the PGA Championship, Tiger Woods will be paired with Phil Mickelson in their final 18. I don't know where they're going to be. They could be, 10 shots back, but they're going to be paired together, and that's what I want to see. So wraps up another edition, which is episode 40 of the Benchwarmers podcast.
Woo! Hey, we getting up.
Casey Coggins with Alvin Hebert.
Next time.
And Andrew Lira.
See ya.
See you when we see ya.